The morning of November 7th finds me again in the bedding area overlooking the Big and Beastie plot, hoping to see the buck named Skinny that I have not seen since November 4th, the year before.
November 7th is my favorite day of the whole year. Today is probably a little bit warmer than most years. For November 7th, it's a 45-degree morning. We're in more like a travel corridor than anything. There's a big block of timber in that direction, and then there's a bedding area down below me, and the deer just move back and forth. We've seen a chase already this morning. We've filmed him a few times now. He was running some does out there in that clover field. It's supposed to turn cold tomorrow, highs in the 50s, which is going to be a nice break from the 70s that we've had. We're going to switch around and get some of those northwest winds, which will open up a couple more tree stands that we haven't had a chance to hunt yet for a while. So I'm looking forward to that. But today, I've got high hopes. November 7th, let the games begin.
My morning begins and ends with only one encounter, the tall-tined 8-pointer chasing does. After a relatively slow start to my favorite day of the year, I head to a new spot, a redneck blind on the east fringe of the 60-acre woodlot where I think Skinny is living. At the same time, Jared Mills is taking a break from hunting hermit to try a new farm where he's been getting trail camera photos of multiple giant bucks.
Well, it's about 3:30 here on the afternoon, November 7th. Mike and I have been set up for probably half an hour now. We are on a farm that's brand new to me this year. This is my second time hunting it. I've had some pretty good card pulls in the last few weeks, last couple weeks really, and a number of really good deer have shown up. You know, this we could kind of tell just by looking at the aerial map and the surrounding area this would be a good rut farm, and so far based on the cameras that's been true. We haven't made it down here to hunt it very often to really learn that aspect of it, but we'll see. It's definitely an exciting spot. Never been here before, so excited to see what happens.
As Jared waits for a buck to check the food plot, I'm fighting to stay awake. While undeniably invigorating, hunting every day for weeks brings with it the typical shortage of quality sleep time. By the end of the evening, only a doe, a fawn, and a small buck have made their way past the blind. It is a disappointing end to my favorite day of the year. 60 acres may as well be 60 square miles. Skinny continues to elude me. While I ponder my next move, Jared and Mike are in shock when a giant buck enters the CRP field.
He's got 6 on him. Dude, that's the 6.5. Dude, that thing's a giant. Let me turn it on. I don't know where that's right now, probably. This guy doesn't can't see that over here. Yeah, you can try. Just use that dough to let the beams on that side. Shortly after dark here. We had to wait for a couple does to work off, so it got dark on us, but pretty awesome second sit on this farm. I mean, to see a deer like that in their second time in, it's pretty exciting. So now the game plan begins. We're going to be right back here in the morning. We're going to try to take a little bit longer way out to avoid the area that he was going. Who knows where he's at now, following that doe, but he's a heck of a deer for sure, and it's exciting to know you're going after a deer like that. It makes passing some of those other deer a lot easier. So we are going to try to pack up, sneak out of here, and make a plan for the morning.
This redneck blind is down in a valley. Generally, I don't like to hunt such places because the swirling winds can occur here and make it nearly impossible to keep from being scented by at least a few deer. However, redneck blinds seal up well and contain odor nicely. When coupled with an ozonics unit, I can hunt these spots effectively even with a window open. Realtree Extra blends in extremely well in nearly every type of tree. Jared and Mike are sitting in a cedar tree with a small trunk and remain undetected by a large group of turkeys and deer as they pass through the area. Keeping even the non-target game relaxed is critically important to a successful hunt. Jared is sitting over a large, frigid forage big and beastie plot when he encounters this buck. These plants can hold up well to browse pressure and are good attractants for the entire season. This farm has plenty of deer, and by November, there is still ample forage remaining to help carry them through the winter.
My boot of choice for whitetail hunting is the Cabela's 5mm Accelerator rubber boot. It's completely waterproof and has an overbuilt sole for hiking through rough terrain. The neoprene top makes for better range of motion, resulting in longer, more comfortable days in the field.
November 8th comes in with a cold front and a northwest wind. I'm hunting a small, narrow food plot in the timber on the west edge of what I believe to be Skinny's range. As the old buck moves off, I immediately recognize him as the same deer I tried to shoot on November 4th on the edge of the grass field.
Pretty good chance that buck is going to come back out looking for those does. He wasn't very spooked, and obviously, they were pretty nervous, but they weren't overall spooked either. But if you look at that, the way the leaves were blowing, they were blowing directly from us, right to those does. So the combination of staying clean and running this ozonics in the tree made a huge difference there, because everything was blowing right to those two does. They got nervous, but they didn't blow out. So if this buck comes back by again, we can owe some of our success to the ozonics in the tree.
After the initial excitement, the morning's action grinds to a halt. 75 miles to the east, Jared Mills is hunting the same farm he was on the evening before. He quickly hangs a stand 300 yards into the timber, hoping to catch the big typical on his feet.
it was a pretty cool encounter. I did a rattling sequence and 3 bucks came in. First one came by, another one came down the hill, and pretty soon a deer that we have quite a few pictures of. I'm really on the fence about shooting that deer, and just because of the caliber of deer that are on this farm that we have pictures of. He's a great deer, but there's definitely some bigger ones. I was kind of just gonna see how the hunt went, and if he was gonna give me a chip shot, I was probably gonna shoot him. But either way, cool encounter, not too big of a deal that he got away. I know there's some bigger ones around, so hopefully we see one of them sometime here soon.
Several of our Pro Staff members shoot the Hoyt Power Max because it is one of the best values on the market. The Power Max has many of the same features found on other Hoyt bows, with the biggest difference being its cast riser instead of machined. If you are looking for a great budget bow, check out the Power Max.
Tree stand falls can be deadly, and it's not something that we're willing to take a chance on. You shouldn't either. Check out the Muddy Safeguard safety harness to have peace of mind when you head to the field this fall.
Accuracy is always the most important goal for any shot. That is why, as the arrow speeds increase, I shoot mechanical heads. Rocket has been making accurate mechanical heads since the early 1990s. They were one of the first companies to produce these models, and their time-proven designs still work today. I've had a lot of success hunting near food plots, but before you can hunt them, you have to get them growing. And the key to growing a good plot is getting the seed in the ground at the right depth and the right rate. RTP's Genesis no-till seeder has done a great job for me on our farm. The next day dawns cold and clear. I sneak back to the stand between the grass field and the standing corn, 100 yards from the Big and Beastie plot. At the same time in southeast Iowa, Troy Sachsanmaier is on public land where he's been hunting a cool double-beamed buck for the past week.
Today's November 9th, and we're hunting the public land again. We're still after that buck I call McDagger. We still haven't seen him, and this morning walking in, we bumped one deer, so I'm hoping that it wasn't him. We just had 4 does come underneath of us here. So the good sign is we got some fresh doe sent in here. Those deer got up on this high ridge, and we're just up there feeding, so I know other deer can see them in their beds and stuff, and hoping to get one of these mature bucks just cruising along this riverbank here and gives us a good shot. Andrew, right here. There's a buck, I can see him. Right there. I can't tell which one it is. He's right here.
Your shoulder was in the way of the shot.
Go down.
There he is.
We're out here hunting this public land, and I mean, it's always kind of a crapshoot. You never know what to expect with public hunting, but I found this little area it seems like I haven't been disturbed at all. And this is a deer I call McDagger. It's actually a really cool story. I had some friends send me a picture of this deer. They were out duck hunting and they drove by this public land and they saw this deer and they took a picture. And sure enough, I came in that night and hung a set, and I had that deer come in bed right in front of me, about 150 yards, right where he came from. I figured that was his bed, that he'd be starting to go on a cycle, just circling this public land. And then of course he cuts over right in front of us, and it sounds like on the shot, my head was in the way for the actual shot, but hopefully I can find him. The shot was back just a touch, but he's bleeding good. Talking about. He bedded down right here the other day on film. Well, I ended up getting the deer that I came in here for. This is the deer I call McDagger. He's got a real cool dagger here on his right side, and then a double main beam on the right also. Definitely the rut is starting to really kick up here. And these deer have been just doing a ton of scent checking. We haven't seen a ton of crazy chasing here in the eastern part of the state, but definitely been just seeing a lot of bucks just kind of cruising along, checking different beds. And the other day I came in here and did a hang and hunt, and I found his bed, and we set up then the next day a couple 100 yards up because I felt like I was too close. And sure enough, he got out of his bed this morning and came down. He was going to check another bedding area and came in, gave me a nice shot at about 9 yards. Still a cool story for me. I'm super happy with it. Looking forward to getting back out during the late gun season and see if we can't get something done there too.
Troy's Easton FMJ hit a limb during the shot, but because these shafts are stiff, sturdy, and moderately heavy, the arrow corrected and stayed on course, hitting the buck through the back of the ribs. FMJs are tough arrows, built for serious whitetail hunters. Troy was using the Fuse Cybex multi-pin sight. This is a high-quality, very rugged sight that comes standard with an attachable sight light. You can select between a 3-pin or 5-pin configuration in this bulletproof sight.
One of the ways that we run trail cameras on public land is to take one of our muddy ProCam 12s deep into a bedding area and leave it for the full season. We feel like this is a great way to learn more about an area without spending much time there, and we have confidence that the battery life in our cameras will last the whole season.
We had good success with the Ozonics HR200, which is still in the line, but their new HR300 model produces up to 45% more ozone. This can be critical in the tree stand on days when the wind is gusting. Deer love trophy rocks, and that makes them a great choice to attract deer to your trail cameras. Rocks are much less expensive than maintaining bait sites, and each one lasts a long time, so you can make less trips to check your cameras, and that means less chance to bump deer. If you enjoy scouting with trail cameras, Trophy Rock is the perfect attractant. As Troy and friends celebrate their success, the morning of the 9th ends uneventfully for me. The 3-day span from November 7th to the 9th are some of the very best days of the rut. Jared and Mike have encountered great bucks as they learn Jared's new farm. The public land crew continues to hunt their very best stands with plenty of daily action. For my part, the days have been uneventful. I'm now 3 weeks into my quest for Skinny and have yet to lay eyes on him. Needing a break, I head to a redneck blind on a nearby ridge that I've not hunted all season. As I watch the young buck pretend that he is part of the rut, I think ahead. The wind is supposed to stay out of the northwest. In the morning, I will head back to the stand I hunted 2 days earlier, the narrow plot. My hopes instantly rise. That is the magic of the rut. You are never out of the game. Despite going through some of the best days of the season with limited action, I'm still optimistic. Each day brings its own promise of action. Tomorrow is the carrot on the string, dangling tantalizingly just out of reach. Tomorrow is the hope that keeps you moving forward when you are chasing November.